Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mortgage Heroes Weekly Podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Brian.
And I'm finally back, Will.
Finally back. It's a new nickname on the show.
I'm finally back.
Welcome to Finally Back. Who's finally back?
Let's go.
You guys, we're starting off with really good news today. You know, it's been a couple months now. The NAR lawsuit came out and this whole VA thing. What's going to happen with the VA loan? What's going to happen with paying buyer broker commissions? And so our first article today is just that, guys. This is from Housing Wire. Cool. VA issues temporary fix to allow buyer paid broker fees. U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs issued a temporary fix that will allow homebuyers using VA loans to pay for the real estate agent's commission, i.e. the buyer broker fee. This came out the first week of June. This is great news. This is what we were expecting. It's kind of what we were projecting to the audience that, hey, they're going to come up with something, and here we go. Here it is.
Yeah, it is. You know, the great thing about that is the VA actually did something rather fast.
Yes.
Because normally when it comes to VA, you guys see the guidelines and everything that when it comes to the VA, they're like snails.
Yeah.
They don't move. So the great thing about this is they saw the importance of this. They're like, one thing that we do is we regulate, you know, what our veterans pay as far as fees.
Yeah.
And so they saw this like, wait a minute. They're going to buy this home loan with no money down, right? That's how they're going to qualify. Now we're asking them to pay compensation for realtors, et cetera. Like, yeah, this ain't going to happen. So they stepped in rather fast, which I was actually really impressed that they stepped in and they're regulated. But again, this is a temporary fix until August.
Yeah, it doesn't start till, what does it say, August 10th, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when's the NAR lawsuit go into effect? July 1st or something like that,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
there's like a little bit of a gap in that 6 weeks or whatever that is. But also, you know, remember that a lot of times, in most instances, what's happening is that the buyer's commission is being baked into the seller's list price. And so even in the VA case, the buyer's agent would be receiving commission based on the actual selling price and that whole thing. The other clarification to make is with the NAR lawsuit specifically, it's talking about marketing the commission in the MLS.
Yeah.
As far as the commission, so it can prevent and maybe curb agents from taking people to only some houses with higher commissions and avoiding homes that have lower commissions. But you're right. This is a great move by the VA, which we saw very quickly. Now, in their defense, before we continue, I want to say one thing. There are some things that the VA can only do like once a year, like reset certain rates and cost of living, stuff like that. So I would say that in their defense. But yes, other than that, this was like the fastest thing we ever see them do.
Yeah, this was actually like, golly, they're talking about urgency, you know? So, I mean, again, hopefully this will actually continue to go on. They find some type of resolution and figure out like, yes, our veterans are not going to pay any of the broker, but we'll see.
And I think there's still going to be a lot more, how do I say it, better ways to get this this to go through, because I think it's still going to be like a pilot program where they're going to try it out, see how it works, and then along the ways be able to correct it to see if it's something that, you know, can be done.
Yeah, and let's also clarify for people who are maybe not new to this topic at all, this does qualify for active duty military, veterans, and surviving spouses of veterans as well. So I know sometimes we talk about these things and we happen to leave off the surviving spouse part, but that is not intentional. It's just kind of a byproduct. It's the majority of what we do is going to be active duty military and veterans themselves. Yeah. But the surviving spouse part is a component of this. So for even in that instance, this new circular from the VA is going to be helping them as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so, I mean, basically what it's just talking about is you're not going to be paying on top of your closing costs, a broker compensation, that could just keep adding. Most people don't have those finances to be,
working out extra thousands of dollars.
Exactly. You know, and these people served our country. Like, this is a benefit that they receive. So what benefit is there if now they have to pay compensation to someone else? And again, this is also trying to figure out a way how not to overcharge somebody, because they're going to try to make it where the veteran is going to pay. This is just kind of prolonging that process. But this is in no means saying, the NAR rule is not saying that just because you're a VA, you can prove that you're not going to pay for this fee for finding your home.
It's still in the deal somewhere.
It's still going to figure out. And they're still, NAR is still trying to get it where like, no, the veteran's going to pay. VA is just saying for now, that's a no-no. We're going to try to figure out if that's going to continue to be a no-no, until April 10th.
When we really start seeing the transactions start really going into the effect of the lawsuit, we're going to start seeing other little problems, things that they're going to have to, fix. And I just hope that, they find a solution, they stick to it, and we could just keep moving forward and doing business.
Yeah, no, exactly. And hopefully they don't have to pay this at all. Yeah. But based on what we're reading here, that's not saying that at all. It's just kind of a temporary Band-Aid for them.
Yep. And the other thing too, I want to mention too is like, we had kind of said when this was all unfolding, like one of two things has to happen. Either the lawsuit's going to have some sort of amendment for it, or amendment to the lawsuit for the VA specific rule, or the VA is going to have to step up and do something. And I mean, those were kind of the two choices, and this is what we get. So the VA finally did something, and I also want to make sure that we give credit to the Mortgage Bankers Association and the Community Home Lenders of America, because remember those two organizations they were the ones who wrote the letters.
Yeah,
they were saying, hey, we're going to have a problem with the VA loan guarantee if you guys don't fix this or address it or something. So there's a lot of times we might lay complaint at the feet of some of the industry organizations, but this is an instance where honestly we can, let's say, credit them without it coming across we're just kissing their butt.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
This is them doing the thing that is right for the people that are going to benefit from it. There's so many times where there's these rules or these rulings that come out, and there's this unintended consequence that negatively impact homeowners or home buyers. And this is one where they actually go to bat for the right thing, and it actually worked out.
Yeah,
I'm actually really happy about this today.
Again, this is the fastest I've seen the VA move.
That's the other part, isn't it? Maybe in the future they're going to use this or go, hey, remember back in 2024 when you guys made that really quick amendment to the rule? We know you can do it. Don't be telling me over here you need 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months to do something when you can do it in 6 weeks.
Yeah, this is just crazy.
Yeah. Any other? So but
this is actually a good, a very good article.
You guys think this is going to help people like feel like they have their bids will stand up against everyone else's now, or what?
Well, no, I mean, even with VA right now, right? It's like if you have a conventional buyer that's putting 20, 30% off, that's going to over trump any of this, an FHA or VA. So it's like now with the veteran, seeing that it's VA and us, the majority of realtors realizing that veterans don't have down payment. That's why they get into a VA loan and they have this benefit because they go in with 0% down. I think it's going to hinder more VAs, according to realtors, the way they view this now.
The way that the market is right now with like prices being so high, so many escrows falling out because they either can't get, the rate locked. No down payment also means that their DTI is going to be a little bit higher because they have no down payment. Anybody that comes in with, a significant down payment, the seller's going to look at it like, oh, significantly coming in with money, their DTI might be low. Like, hey, that might be a lower risk. It looks like they're going to get the deal done where, maybe the other one might have a little bit of trouble, but that's just how the sellers are looking at it. And although at the end of the day, the seller's still going to net with the same thing, the psychology of them saying, no, they're putting more money down, it looks like a better deal. I think that's going to play a part.
But at the same time, there's more skin in the game, right? So for a seller, for me, if I'm putting in there 100% and knowing that, well, most veterans don't have that down payment for their broker. And, I know I'm going to pay that. But already, even right now, without the no-ho-nar rule, tough, a lot of realtors that don't understand VA will kind of, shy away from a VA and rather go conventional side, even if they're going to offer is going to be less than
I've seen that.
the VA. So
it's important for us to also note, I think, just again, if somebody doesn't know this and you're watching this part of the show, it's important to know that all offers that are submitted to sellers need to be presented to sellers. So it's not that they're just being like put on the side and you can't present it. You need to present these to your sellers if you're an agent, right? We can't be
exactly.
We can't just be telling people it's not going to get seen. It's supposed to get seen. The fiduciary responsibility is to present the offers that come in.
That's why we get in those, lawsuits.
No, and I just feel like it has to be said because, you're right. There's going to be a little bit of kind of side eye, if you will, about whether this is a good deal or not. But it's not always, it's not always what it looks like on paper. There's a lot behind it. Sometimes there's an appraisal issue.
Yeah.
And that might be the concern. That could be overcome. I mean, we still get people in with using VA anyway. So it's not like that's a dead deal or upon arrival. That's not it at all.
And I think it also validates how important representation is, because if you have someone that's able to negotiate, understand terms and stuff like that, they're going to be more keen to get your offer accepted instead of somebody that's just, writing offers, submitting them. Hey, didn't get accepted. Why? They just didn't like it. You need someone that's in there. Why didn't it get accepted? What can we do to get it accepted? How is the seller like this? Something that's proactive. And that also comes with, the value of the agent as well. So it's really tough for a VA buyer to go and spend 2.5%, which is, more or less average the commission that gets, given to these buyers agents, and then another 2 to 3% for closing costs, 1 to 3% for closing costs. Like you're already at 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
There's a down payment in itself.
That's a disservice. That's a disservice to our veterans.
Like, where's the help?
Disservice to them. because their eligibilities to go in it with 100% financing.
Right.
You know, and so I don't know. This is just it's crazy. It's a good temporary fix until August 10th. I'm just surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm curious to see what's going to happen after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then from this point, it's really just all eyes on August 10th, and then once we get there, we'll see where the dust settles and see what that how it unfolds and what that actually means. Because it has to materialize in the market still before we really know what's going. I mean, you can say it on paper and it's going to be this or that, but then you got to watch it materialize and kind of play out.
Yeah, because that's all this is. This is just kind of like buying time.
It's like an announcement.
It's an announcement.
It's an announcement. Okay, well, all right. Well, then for everyone watching, August 10th. That's the new new deadline. Turn your eyes towards August 10th. Then we'll see what happens. With this
I'm
VA
curious
rule.
to see what the audience has to say about that. You know, are you guys opposed to veterans not paying buyer broker agreement commission? Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know in the comments,
please.
Let us know what you like or dislike about this whole
nobody
VA
should
thing.
pay it.
Yeah, nobody should. I mean, right?
Well, next up, guys, we have from CNBC, the Federal Reserve holds interest rates steady, and here's what that means for your money. So, surprise, not surprise, the Federal Reserve was like, yeah, we can't reduce rates. This is, I'm going to say crazy, because that might sound overinflated, and it's not. Our Fed rate range is still 5.25 to 5.5, and it has been since last July in 2023. The Federal Reserve held rates steady at the end of its two-day meeting last Wednesday, once again pushing back the start of rate cuts and any relief from sky-high borrowing costs. And higher prices and interest rates have put many households under pressure. No duh.
Hello.
This is them, I'm going to say, publicly eating crow, and here's why. There was so much talk at the end of last year in quarter four. Oh, rate cuts in 24. I think we're going to see numerous rate cuts in 24. We were wagering on the show. It's going to be
Memo
1 to 3,
still stands
3 to 4, 6 to 8.
Memo still stands correct.
No, but Andy, remember they were talking about, like, financial analysts were talking about we're going to have 5 to 6 rate cuts.
There's no way.
Yeah. And we all came down to, I don't remember. I wish I could go
said
back
3.
and remember.
I said 3.
Okay.
I thought there would be 3.
I don't remember what I said.
Obviously, that's not the case. I mean, they're saying there might be one. There might be one this year.
Especially when, Jerome Powell came out and said that the Biden administration is cooking the books. Right?
Well, that's another problem, too.
That was crazy. I never thought I'd hear that. That one was
way to unpop the lid on that one.
You're talking about the employment part, right?
Yeah, correct. Because it all has to do with jobs.
And that's a little bit of a clapback, too, because, you're not really like, the Fed's not really working for the government, but there's like persuasion, and they are kind of doing some things, and they're kind of not. So it's kind of like they get to pick and choose where they want to say, oh, yeah, we're hand in hand. And then they get to like lay blame when it's not in their favor. We're like, hey, get that off me. Don't put that on me.
You guys got to admit, that was pretty crazy.
That was nuts.
That was.
For him to just say, hey, the Biden administration is pretty much cooking the books. They're not really looking at the employment rate the way they should be. Otherwise, we are not where we're supposed to be at.
Well, the whole gainfully employed definition has been changed, because now you're talking about creating new jobs, and there's all these new jobs. But if you have 2 of those, and you have 3 of those, and I have 2 of those, that's still 3 people employed. That's not 7 people employed, and that's the issue.
But they have 7 people.
So when you say we have 7 new people that have jobs, it's you have 2, you have 3, I have 2. That's one of the issues. I'm not going to get into all the issues. That's one of the issues with the counting. And I'm also not going to say that other administrations don't do the same kind of garbage. They do. It's what do you got to do to make it look a certain way? Jerome Powell's like, hey, I ain't having none of this right now. I ain't having none of this right now.
The more I listen to the Fed, is the more that math is just magic, not science.
and here's the other thing I also want to make sure I really dislike that people who are incredible or should be in credible positions say things that are incorrect.
Yeah.
So we have Greg McBride. I'm sorry, Greg. Bankrate.com. Quote, it is not enough that the rate of inflation has come down. He's saying come down in positive territory. If inflation is +3 and it goes to +2 or +0.3, +0.2, it's still in positive territory and growing. It's slowed down, not go down. Do not tell people it's gone down when it has not gone down and is just slowed down. Again, I'm going to go to the weight metaphor. If I go from 200 pounds to 205 and then to 209, my weight increase has gone down from 5 pounds to 4 pounds, but now I'm 209, not 200.
Dang. Yeah.
That is not going down.
Well,
So
way to
I
break it down like that.
I hate that, and then tries to backstop with, well, but prices haven't, and that's what's really stressing household balances. Like, no, you're already misinforming it in the way you're saying it. It's not going down; it is slowing, but still increasing in total.
Well, we already know inflation's there. I mean, I went to Carnival to go get some tortillas and churritos and some cheese. I walked out of there, it was like $89. I'm like, what?
Hey.
And I just got a little the little carrying cart.
It gets pretty
Right?
expensive.
You know what I'm most impressed with as part of the show is you moved away from the dollar menu at McDonald's and you moved away from the Jack in the Box tacos.
We're
and now
going
we're
to
talking
Carnival?
about
Well,
Carnival.
I had to go there to shop for Tanya. You know, it's my birthday, so I had to go buy a couple of things for myself over there, and I was pretty surprised. I haven't done some grocery shopping, even though it was just those little basket things,
Little tiny hand
and it wasn't
basket,
even
yeah.
full.
He's like, they had these things that's like a little mini cart, but we could walk with it.
yeah. So I understand inflation's still up there, so I
Well,
understand that.
So interest rates
Yeah,
for
last time I bought milk, there was $2. I went, it was $5.
$2. No,
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
No, he went to go get milk and never returned.
Yeah.
So this is going to impact everything, guys. You got credit cards, mortgage rates,
Yes.
auto loans. What else we got here referenced in the article? We got student loans, student loans, and savings rates. So look, if you got a lot of money, you want a good APY on your savings, you can put in a CD for 6 months, 12 months, get a good return while the Fed rate's high. You might as well do that. You can at least get a return on your money that's outpacing inflation at its current rate. So that might be helpful. If you got $100,000 or more than that, just go dump that in a little short-term CD. That might help you out.
You know, hey, credit cards. I did see the credit card debt still going up over 1.3 trillion. Never seen that.
That's so crazy.
It's crazy.
That's absolutely nuts. And again, I think that some of the things that Jerome Powell is saying, and evidenced by the credit card total volume going up balance-wise, that's indication of other things brewing under the surface. It's obviously reflecting in these numbers that something's going on, and people still have to spend. But I think the problem is that, maybe, I know this is maybe a little on the ground reference here. I don't know where this might be in the data, so there's my qualifier. But I know that for a lot of times, people would rationalize using their credit card to spend things discretionary. I want to go take this quick 3-day weekend. I want to go buy this Wave Runner or whatever. But now it's more towards like, I need to use my credit card to pay the things I got to buy. I got to buy groceries, put gas in my car, and do those kinds of things. And it's not necessarily discretionary. It's more like the necessity. And that I am seeing just observationally when I'm out and when I'm talking to people and I'm hearing, I think that's been the broadest change that I've noticed firsthand. And I think that's obviously pushing some of these numbers.
Yeah, that's all the data too. We're seeing in the data there. We're seeing some of the highest auto repos now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I saw
so
that.
and people are. Why is that happening? Because the necessity maybe for 2 cars or 3 cars is not in right now,
Yeah.
Some people are just going to one car. I know I've gone to one car.
Yeah, that's right.
Same.
So
yeah. We got rid of one of
our.
we have more drivers in our house, but we went from 3 to 2 because 2 that paid her off. And I was like, the one that's got the payment, you're gone.
Yeah,
I don't need
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
I don't need it. So
But some people, they don't have the luxury of getting rid of that car. They just can't have that payment. And so they do have the necessity of 2. And so now they're losing one. They have to try to figure out how to just even keep one.
So here's the thing I'm going to ask you guys. If you think that, let's go back to the kind of the main point of the article was the Fed's going to drop the interest rate one time. First of all, one time? Like really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But then what's that going to mean for people? Like how long do you think we're going to continue asking people to go through this trudge, for lack of a better term? How long do you think this is going to go on before we see, let's say, a real settling in with prices? Because I think prices are already fixed.
Yeah.
My proposal or my projected estimate is that we're going to be in this all through 25 and into 2026. That's
I
what
agree.
I think.
A lot of people think presidential is going to come in and it's going to, whoever comes into place is going to, change is going to come immediately. No, it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
You throw a stone and then the ripple, you'll see it. It takes time for us to see that change. So for me personally, I think after going through all of this, we're going to see a recession.
Yeah.
We're going to hit it's going to get tougher.
That's
what I feel.
How long do you think it's going to be tough?
For at
What's
least,
your estimate?
my estimate would be like where things kind of start breathing, it's going to be towards the end of 2025.
Okay.
It's like
That's
12
where I'm
to,
at.
12 to 18 months.
Yeah, 12 to 18 months.
Okay.
More like, I'm going to say 14 to 18 months is where I'm at.
All right. That's good. Brian, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better.
Okay.
Based on everything that we've been talking about, seeing the data, the Fed, and just, the way that people are, moving, I think we're walking a very fragile line. And a lot of people are still, like I said, putting that credit card, putting those costs into their credit card and just racking it up. And I think that there has to be a breaking point. They can't just continuously be spending. And like we talked about, episodes back in years, I want to say close to like a year now, where people are going to start saying, well, hey, I don't need that much. I need this the most. So, hey, we're going to stop, paying this. Might be one credit card. That one credit card then turns into another one and then a car.
Oh, yeah.
And then your house is the last straw to fall. we're starting to see the straws fall from the auto repos, the high credit cards, and those are just literally like foreshadowing of like, hey, what's to come, and if it doesn't get any better, well, a lot of people are going to have to then start resorting to not getting their houses.
And I know there's some chatter we've had with a couple people too, kind of off camera, like the NODs are kind of showing up a little bit. They're not like crazy, but they're like, hey, there's a little bit of an uptick recently here in the spring of 24, which again, maybe that leads to inventory, but maybe someone can save their place by selling it before it gets too out of control.
And that's what I was going to say. Maybe, there is still so much pent up equity that can, basically if you unlock the equity, you might unlock the real estate market, but everybody's still holding on to their low rates because at the same time, they don't know what's going to happen. And they're like, if I go sell my house, now my payment's up and I lose my job. Now I got to twice the payment and I don't even have the job to be able to pay it anymore. Yeah. So it's like, on one hand, I understand people want to move, but at the other hand, they're like, I don't know what's to come. So I can't really make a confident decision.
Yeah. How do I plan for that? Right.
100%. So a lot of the people that are transacting are people that, hey, in the moment that it presents itself, I need to make this move. I need to move. I move. Because if not, people are like, hey, I have a house. I got a low payment. I could think about moving. I don't really need to. But the people that got to go. They're stuck trying to find houses.
Well, then maybe, so I think then my summary point for the time frame is that during this duration, these guys are talking about, talking about maybe 25, 26. I think what we need to tell everyone is not only buckle up, but be prepared for the Fed to continue moving slow. Because even if the administration changes, if the Fed is saying that they're going to only do one rate change this year, it might mean they only do 2, 3, at max, maybe 4 in 2025. Yeah. But again, if they are data dependent, guess what? All that data has to then work in the favor of those choices. That actually could be a much longer time frame than we're actually thinking about right now. So just be prepared for that.
And even if the next presidency wanted to come in and say, hey, clean slate, new Fed president, you can't. He's termed in.
Oh, yeah, he's termed in. It takes a while to replace.
You can't.
And even if you just try to tank that, again, there's repercussions. If you just, instead of like that pebble hitting the water and rippling, if you throw a stone in it, that makes it, that can also cause some other problems. So let's not hope for that either, I don't think.
Yep. And there's a lot of stuff going on in our economy that just
it's going to unfold right before our eyes.
There's just so much stuff that's intertwined with problems overseas, with immigration here, the border. There's so many things that are critically connected that it's like you can't move too quick on one thing because you might break another.
Well, that's what I heard. I heard everyone's coming here for high interest rates.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we got to go on from that one. That was terrible.
Jeez.
All right, well, from Mish Talk, guys, 2024 will have the most multifamily housing completions in history. So after the latest wave of multifamily construction boom, we had 2023 with the most new apartments completed since the 80s. Now, the 80s is you were a young man in the 80s. I was a young man in the 80s.
He was swimming.
Yeah, I think he was with his pops over there still.
Yeah.
Hadn't left his house.
Yeah.
So 2023 saw the most new apartments completed since the 1980s, and the number of multifamily units under construction peaked late last year at a record level, with nearly 1 million units still in the pipeline. This year's on track to bring even more new inventory than last.
Yay! You know what that sounds like?
Renters.
That's it. A renters nation. That's what it is.
Crazy.
They want to make it sound so good, right?
Yeah.
But again, these big companies are trying to do your Vanguards, your BlackRocks. They're trying to make it a renters nation.
This is what that looks like.
And
this is exactly what that looks like.
What I see a lot now in the developments of multifamily housing is that they build a whole community inside the development of where they're building.
Yes.
Meaning that you don't have to leave. There's stores, there's parks, there's recreation all around. So they're really selling hey, you have everything here. Yeah. Why would you need to buy? You can rent for this fixed place and get access to all this.
Just south of us, there's a couple of projects that are just like that. There's some in Millennia that are going up where you got the townhome and you got the connected condos and you have the park. There's a grocery store. Yeah. There's local businesses. There's an insurance agency. There's some restaurants. There's a new coffee place, a wine shop, all within walking distance. And then you go outside that 2-block perimeter to the 3rd and 4th block away. And guess what? It's all your major stores. You got Walmart right there. Yeah. You got a McDonald's. You got In-N-Out, Vaughn's, grocery. You got all this other stuff that's actually not too far away, and it's that ecosystem that's right there. You don't got to get it. I saw a family walking across the street the other day with their stroller, a new young family, like yours, right? Walking across the street, they got their stroller, and they had their groceries in another cart. and they were just walking home. And they may have a car, but they were clearly walking right back to where they live.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at that.
No,
right
those
there.
kids are going to grow up like the Truman Show, grow up and I want to go on vacation. And they're going to figure out that they're just in that little bubble, right? Until they get older. The curiosity is going to take them like, I need to go to Mexico. Boy, there's no Mexico, right? You're right here.
So down the street, the taco shop's Mexico.
That's a great. If you haven't seen that movie, it's pretty good.
There
Truman
has
Show.
been
I have it. I'm like,
there has been don't say anything. You haven't seen
yeah,
it.
and I'm like,
There has been a substantial increase of multifamily using permits since 2020. In 2020, there's a lot of stats that are totally skewed and weird, just statistical anomalies because of what the year 2020 was. But right after that, in 21, 22, 23, and even in 24, all of those subsequent years have a higher permits pulled than the previous 30 years. And I don't mean total, I mean every single year. In 21, 22, 23, and 24, there were more multifamily housing permits pulled than in the last 30 years in any given year.
Yeah.
The only competitive year that comes anywhere near these three I'm mentioning is 2019. And 2019 was just under, let's say, it was right around 520,000 permits pulled. And nowhere prior to that is there a year that crossed 500,000. And now we're clearly past 500,000. You got past 600,000 in 21, 700,000 in 22, right around 600,000 in 23, and north of 500,000 again in 24. So this is the complete permanent shift culturally of multi-housing permits, just building a pipeline of inventory that's about to come, and it's going to be Renter Nation.
No, Renter Nation, and that's one of the things that have gone down nationwide are the rents. They're making it more affordable, right? Because they want people to get in there. Okay, you know what? If buying a home is too much, why don't we just get you to rent and we'll lower the price on that, get you in, and we already know what time we're going to increase it anyways.
the ride back up to where
so it
we're
doesn't
at.
really matter.
It's like,
It's
like a teaser rate.
They've come down from like their 100% increase.
No, but they come down like $50
Yeah.
in comparison to,
Yeah.
where they're at.
Yeah. Like, hey, I gained 50 pounds. I lost 2. Ayo. Yeah, it is happening, and it is certainly happening in other parts of the country a lot more rapidly than it is like here.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into some rental conversation here in a minute to close the show. But what's interesting about that is that it's the normalization of the price. And even though it's like been astronomical, you have to have a place to live. It's just shelter costs. And we've talked about that on other shows too. Like average shelter cost, whether it's you own the house or you rent the place, it is astronomically higher than it was just 4 years ago. Well, 5 years ago, 2019 was a reference article, but it's insane. And so coming down right now is great. It's going to need to come down some more, I think, to open up the door for other people. But until then, I think prices are here to stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So,
absolutely.
did you guys want to break? I wanted to talk about one last thing in here because there was an interesting chart on here about the per capita multifamily units polled.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like 30 largest metros, and it's a really neat visual of how inconsistent some places have been, where there's like been really big booms. Like, look, real quick, take a look at Vegas. You look at Vegas, like years ago, there's a huge spike in multifamily permits, and then like it's been a lull since then. You look at San Diego, it's been pretty consistent over that same amount of time. You see Austin, and it's like they've just been on a rampage. Like, Austin's been on a Austin's been
printing permits,
been on a tear. And then you see someone like Riverside, got a little bit of blip. Detroit, little blip. New York, kind of a little blip. And New York's a bit. I mean, New York, everyone knows New York.
Yeah.
So it's just
Orlando.
interesting to me when I was looking at this how varied the outcome was as far as the multifamily permit, and every area though in these 30 largest metros is in positive. Again, I'm gonna use positive territory, negative territory. All of these 30 that are referenced here are all growing in multifamily, not decreasing in multifamily.
Yeah.
So that says to me,
Austin, man, that's on steroids.
a sense of permanency, in my opinion.
keep pumping.
All right.
Build them; they will come.
Yeah, but if you build it, they will come. They have to. People got to have a roof over their head, otherwise they'll end up on the
That's
streets.
one of the states a lot of people are moving to is Texas, and Austin's one of the cities that I think they have a lot of tech companies there, right?
Yeah,
They're starting.
Yeah, there's a lot of culture too. Though.
Yeah.
A lot of media is going there. It's tons of stuff.
Yeah.
So they expect 2024 will be the peak for new apartments hitting the market, and then next year we'll see fewer completions. But again, even if 2025 is somewhere north of 500,000 units, that still surpasses all previous years in the last 30. So there's my final point, guys. Last today on the show is from Zero Hedge. The cities with the highest rent in the U.S., Ding, ding, ding. Surprise,
Come on
surprise. San Diego.
Really?
San Diego.
Not
We're on the
Mexico?
map, baby.
On the map. Hey.
Not Tijuana?
No. So
They probably spiked up in rents too these last
have.
couple of years.
They have, actually.
no surprise at the top, guys. New York coming at the top spot. Jersey City, San Francisco, Boston, Miami, San Jose, Arlington, Virginia, and then San Diego. San Diego, number 8 spot for highest rent in the country.
That's crazy.
And I just
Look at that, 4,200 for one bedroom in New York.
in New York, 4,200.
Wow.
Isn't
And
that
I don't know if
crazy?
you guys are traveling New York, but we've been in there a couple of times. We go into the hotel, the rooms are small.
They are tiny.
Oh,
They're real tiny.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's just a battle of square footage, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's small.
And then you don't want that window open because you feel like freaking Spider-Man's going to come out there because there's always sirens going on, especially at nighttime.
Last time we went in the state, it was
That
just
makes sense.
constant sirens and
Siren.
road noise. The ambient noise. If you're not used to like inner city ambient noise, it's
Yeah.
punishing. You gotta close that window, dude.
Yeah, like seriously, I feel like Spider-Man's going to come out, like defend us or something. I'm going to see something here. It's funny.
Spider-Man, this guy. So San
yeah.
Diego price in 2023 was 2401. Price in 2024 2370. I think that's kind of just like a statistical anomaly where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, the year-over-year change is down by 1.3%.
Oh,
I told you rent's going down.
Big whoop. Go back to 2020 when the rent wasn't 2,400. It was like 1,700,
Yeah.
and now it's up.
yeah, we're down 98%.
It's up 58%.
Down
You're like,
2%.
oh, it's down 1. Yeah, big deal. For most people, this is trouble. I know we're not going to cover it in today's show, but I had just sent you guys an article too that was from CNN talking specifically about San Diego as one of the problem spots for housing unaffordability in the nation, which we've also talked about nationwide. People are talking about it. It's on the list with a lot of these other places we're talking about here. But some of these housing markets are just now so far out of reach for people that we have to then figure out how to get people to cross those hurdles and those barriers, whether it's your credit, the amount of money you make monthly, creating a side gig for yourself, some sort of secondary or tertiary income, paying down your debt, all sorts of ways, even getting multiple borrowers on a place, some way to get yourself in if you're trying to get in real estate in San Diego.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
No way,
There it
no
is.
other way about it.
unless
are
you have a
you
huge
guys aren't
salary.
you guys aren't surprised by this, right?
No,
No,
of course
they're
not.
not.
I don't think anybody's surprised about this. I don't care where they are in the nation. Everybody hears it. San Diego, California's just been crazy, you know?
And I think right now, just how the economical climate is, like anywhere you're at, you're struggling to the degree of how your market is. You know, in Texas it's a lot cheaper, but whatever their economy is, they're hurting in itself right there as well because things got more expensive for their norms.
Correct.
So
Yeah. You know, I put another chart here for you guys. This is America's most valuable housing markets. This is actually an extension from the primary article about the rent prices, where it talks about where the total value of homes in each of these areas. And you see
wow.
New York, $2.4 trillion of total home value. Los Angeles, $2.1 trillion. Atlanta, Georgia, $1.2 trillion. Boston, Massachusetts, $1.2 trillion. Anaheim,
Wow.
$1.1 trillion. Then you go Washington, D.C., $1 trillion, Chicago, Illinois, $991 billion, and then San Diego, $988 billion. And the one thing that is just so interesting to me about that specific number is number one, how close it is to $1 trillion. And that's only likely to be surpassed pretty quickly. It might even happen in 2024. We have seen price stability maintain its course. And so this figure being a look back at 2023 means we're likely to cross the $1 trillion mark this year. I'm interested in that. And you have 3 of the top 10 in California.
Yeah. And again, it just all depends too, right? I mean, we've seen, price declines quite a bit these last month in comparison to last year.
Yep.
It is high, but that's also because of the rates.
Yeah.
The rates are a little bit higher than the norm also. So once the rates start going up, that's when, because of, the lack of supply of homes that we have here in this side of San Diego, I just think, we'll easily surpass that.
You know what's interesting to me is that San Francisco wasn't on the list because
I know.
in San
I
Francisco
was wondering
area,
that.
you have the Silicon Valley and you got so much tech over
That's
there,
true.
and the average home price there is crazy.
million.
But this is the total value of homes, and I think maybe just for density purposes,
That's
San Diego proper is just so big that it comes in at number 8, but it is. it was just surprising to me. I thought for sure San Francisco would be on here because of how expensive the homes are. Even though there's less of them, volume-wise, I thought for sure they'd be on this list.
I thought they'd be number 3 right there with LA.
LA, San Francisco, something like that. Yeah, I was surprised at Boston. I didn't know because again, I was thinking concentration. Like Boston's really like concentrated, very kind of small relative to some of these. I mean, Atlanta is huge, Chicago is huge, San Diego is huge, and Boston is just a lot regionally smaller than that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. You know,
hey,
finishing this up with thank you for our cups. Look at this. It makes me feel like.
Yeah. Hey, we got internet. We got cup mugs on the internet now. There you go.
There you go. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, guys. So thank you for always being here for the Mortgage Heroes podcast. Made you guys some cool mugs. We can have them here on the show. Enjoy it off the show. What was your favorite part of the show this week? Is it the mug? It's the mug, isn't it?
No, I like the mugs. Thank you so much for that. You know, I'm a huge advocate for our veterans, and I love them so much, especially coming from a big veteran military family. I'm glad that the VA moves when they want to move, and they move quickly. So I'm just glad that they're pushing this along, and I'm just hoping that they find better ways to regulate this for them. So
good.
That's my favorite part, is just seeing that, you know, we got some type of extra added protection layers there for our veterans.
Good. How about you, Brian?
I really like that we brought up the fact that the Fed pushed back on the Biden administration and gave them a little like kick on the chin.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Like,
All right, I'm going with VA as well. I'm really glad the VA moved quickly on this. I was hoping that there would be a ruling on this in time for July 1st. There isn't, but that's okay. I mean, it is before July 1st now, but they're not going to implement this till August 10th, which is fine. There's not too much of a gap in time in the larger scheme of things. So I'm really glad that happened. I mean, a couple shows, me and Brian, like I was like straight up ranting about this. Like I was like, man, that guy in the corner with the bald hair is really angry.
Heard you.
That guy's really angry. You heard me from upstairs.
I heard you.
And they're like, poor little Mexican's just there listening to him.
Like, hey, I think he's downstairs yelling on camera again.
¿Qué pasó?
Hey, they got one of the immigrants to sit in and listen.
Oh, jeez. Well, thank you for sitting and listening.
Appreciate you.
All right. Well,
I was
you
just
guys,
like, okay.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. I know that, this show had some tough parts as far as what we have to like talk about and go over with people, but I am still optimistic about what the future holds. I think we just got to be a lot more patient. And the rest of 2024, getting to 25, let's just see how things play out. It's going to be a little bit of a ride.
These are cycles that we have to weather,
Yep.
So.
All right, well, thank you guys very much, and thank you all for watching the Mortgage Heroes Weekly Podcast. Remember to check out our other playlist called Friends of Mortgage Heroes, where Will, Brian, and myself interview our friends in and around real estate so you can win in mortgage and real estate and learn a lot of valuable lessons. You guys have been bringing some great guests, so thank you for that. We have had some awesome guests recently. We have some more really exciting ones coming up, some like really top players in real estate. One specifically I'm not going to mention yet, but we have an amazing person coming who represents a huge territory here in San Diego and a household name app you use on your phone to look at homes. So I'll leave that to be your curiosity before as we sign off today.
And one of the other things, if you guys know of any type of other person that you guys like us to interview, like a certain field or anything like that, let us know. We'd love to bring them on.
Yeah, we should probably get even like a home inspector or a solar person.
Whatever you guys
like
want,
that.
whatever you guys think, just give us some information. We want to bring information to you guys. This is what it's all about. Friends of Mortgage Heroes is here to serve you guys and bring you guys what you guys want to hear.
Yeah, that's 100%. A great point. Thank you for asking that. So chime in on the comments on who you'd like to see us interview and what industry they would be represented in, and we'd be happy to entertain having them on.
That's it.
All right, thank you guys for a great show. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
Next week.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Welcome back, Will.